Hello there. This is Cultivating Your Classroom Climate, and I'm here to kind of help guide you a little bit as you start next year. I'm assuming at this point we'll go back to the classroom, although that being said, there's also the possibility that won't be the case. So, in whatever situation we land in, eventually our students will return to the classroom, and it's going to be probably at that point even more important that we really talk about teaching school-wide expectations to students, because at that point it'll have been a while. So that being said, I wanted to give you some resources and a little bit of guidance that might help you. And so I like to start with why. Why do we teach school-wide expectations? There's a great quote that kind of, I think, demonstrates this a bit. If a child doesn't know how to read, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to swim, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to multiply, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to drive, we teach. If a child doesn't know how to behave, we teach. Do we punish? And realistically, the end of this quote goes, why can't we finish the last sentence as automatically as we do the others? And I think that that's a very true sentiment. And so it's really important that we really figure out how do we teach not only academics but behaviors, because we know that they're linked. And in fact, the study listed here is sort of a meta-analysis of, I think it was 68 or 69 different studies about academics and behavior. And the overall analysis is, yes, definitely they are linked. And I think we as educators, we're pretty experienced with that idea. We know that academics and behavior are strongly linked. So then we move to what? So teaching social behaviors, not only is it important, but kind of what do we do in order to do that? And so another study that I've listed here, and by the way, I'm the kind of person that likes to actually, if you just say, oh, research says, it doesn't really mean a lot to me. So I've provided the studies here, and for as many as I can, I have PDFs that I'll attach to this email, as well as this short PowerPoint or any other resources that I talk about. So that being said, there's research behind teaching social behaviors just like you would academic skills. And in fact, there's some phases of teaching and learning that I've listed here: acquisition, fluency, maintenance, generalization, adaptation, that sort of detail that process. And it really applies both, again, to academic and social behavior, and they are linked. And so really we would want to teach them the same way. So to get a little bit further into that, here's kind of what it would look like when we're in the acquisition phase. It means we're trying to learn something and do it accurately. Then we move to fluency, where we really want to be able to do it not only accurately but smoothly, and sort of in the right amount of time. If I can do something, I should be able to do it more automatically at that point. Then we move to a maintenance phase, where not only do we know how to do it, we know how to do it well, we can do it in a timely manner, but then we want to maintain that ability to do so. If you're working on a skill, it takes maintenance. The best athletes take thousands and thousands of hours of practice in order to really master what they're doing. And so that idea of maintenance moving forward is really important. And then when we talk especially about academic skills or behavioral skills, then we move to generalization. Which means, can we do similar things in different situations, which again is also moving to adaptation. And so, I'll provide this to you. You can see it right now as well. Although I imagine the little me is probably blocking a small corner of it up in the top. Maybe it's this corner over here. So that being said, we really do want to, knowing this about how teaching and learning goes, it's really important that we think about how we can apply those things to behavior. So that moves along to the how. How do we teach school-wide behavior expectations? And I think it starts with making a plan. And I think back to those phases of learning, it's good to teach initially. One of the great things that a lot of schools in our district already have some form of is a behavior matrix that says, hey, here's what we believe about our school. At our school, we think we're being safe, responsible, respectful. Here's what it looks like in all these different areas of campus. and that way it's very explicit. So having something like that helps you know what to talk about, and so having an initial plan is really important. That can look like a bunch of different things. Some schools, they have an assembly the first week. Sometimes schools will, especially at the elementary level, they'll do sort of walk around expectations where students will go to the location on campus to learn about the expectations. A lot of times there's rotations involved. Everybody hears the expectations the same way, all of which is very, very important, and in fact benefits you as a campus, because when everybody hears the expectations the same way, then you guys are able to really communicate those, and then students won't be able to game the system like they all are very good at. Especially, it's kind of that thing where kid goes to mom and says something, and mom says no, and then they like go over to dad, and dad's like, ah, yeah, sure, whatever. Um, I say that because I did that a lot as a kid. And so, again, kids, students, they know how to play those. So it's really important that we're consistent. When we hear it all the same way, it makes a lot of sense. So, beyond the initial teaching, I think it's really important. And research shows that it's really important to maintain those expectations throughout the year. As often as you need to, some students will need to review those expectations every day. Some students will need a boost from time to time, every week, every couple weeks. And then the majority of your students will be just fine. And so I personally don't think you can reinforce expectations enough or communicate them enough. And if you do it in a positive manner, I think students really respond to that. So moving past that, it is good to acknowledge when kids meet your expectations and then correct them when they don't. And both of those things are equally as important, and that'll really help you be successful if you're going to maintain those expectations throughout the year. So again, going back, I think it's important to think about how do you want to do these things with students, which is why I'm putting this video out, because I feel like this could be a helpful just reminder that things are coming, and uh, this might be something you want to consider talking with your staff or your PBIS team, or however you want to run that at your site. So that being said, just a last reminder, it's really important that everybody hears those expectations the same way. So whether it's done at a staff meeting, so staff hears it all the same way, and then that they go out and teach the students the same way, or everybody's together assembly style, or it's rotations, whatever you guys end up doing, or a house system or anything like that. It's just really important that you guys all hear it the same way. It'll help get everybody on the same page, including your classified staff, everybody. Um, and then just finally, it really is just as much for us teachers as it is for students. Having a matrix, having expectations helps remind us of how we can both acknowledge students when they need it and then discipline students when they need it. And again, those things are equally important when we're talking about behavior expectations. So that being said, if you have any questions at all, or you want to talk further about any of this, I'd be happy to. My email's right here. Shoot me an email. We can schedule something. And as always, let me know what I can do. So thank you very much. I hope you have a good day.